Hello everyone, this is Yishen. Today I want to share an article with you, written by Guide Xufeng on May 20, 2026, titled Sharing Snippets of Life at Canada's Second Home. The article is short and unassuming. Reading it feels like receiving a letter from a friend, almost like a casual diary. But the more I read it, the more I felt it was quietly asking something important. What does it actually mean to live out the Millennium way of life? Is this human experiment really happening? Part 1. What kind of place is this? Canada's Second Home operates across two locations, the main home and the vacation resort. The main home was established in 2017 and has now been running for nearly 9 years. The vacation resort began operations in 2024, younger but already welcoming guests from nearby towns and as far as Vancouver. The vacation resort sits on the shores of Anaheim Lake surrounded by dense forest, with snow-capped mountains in the distance and waterfall gliding across the surface. In May, temperatures hover between 0 and 15 degrees Celsius. The air is clean. The quiet is the kind you only hear in places where wind and bird song are loudest things around. And in this place live 4 people. The main home has 3. 7 people across 2 locations, working together, keeping the whole of Canada's second home running. These 7 are not employees. They are not business partners. They are not an ordinary family. They are members of Lifechanyuan, fellow travelers, as the community would say, working together toward the Millennium way of life. Part 2. Winter visits and a return to normal. The article Xufeng wrote captures a somewhat unusual period. Winter is the quiet season. Few guests, lighter workloads. Members took the opportunity to move between the 2 locations. In the community's own words, to visit family. Some from the main home went to the resort. Some from the resort went to the main home. A natural, warm-hearted notion, not a corporate transfer policy, not anyone following orders. Just, it's quiet. Let's go spend time with the others. Help out, slow down together. Now spring has arrived. Guests are coming back. Everyone has returned to their posts. The main home with Tongxin, Qinyu, and Jiae. The vacation resort with Guide Xufeng, Huang, Huiyi, and Xinrui, each slipping back into their rhythms. Part 3. One spring and what everyone was doing. I went through Xufeng's article and made a list of what everyone had been up to during this stretch of time. Huiyi repaired 2 snowplows, serviced the motors on 3 boats, chased and fixed a waterlogged lawn at the campsite, started mowing the grass, replaced the porch steps outside 2 guest rooms. Huang swept out old sofas, added a bedside table, installed a large bathroom mirror, replaced the curtains across several rooms, worked with Huiyi on the guest room renovations. Xinrui cooked 3 meals a day, cleaned rooms and changed bedding after guests left, planted seeds in the greenhouse, peas, chives, and puppies, and cared for Guide Xufeng, whose mobility has been limited. Every morning before 7, she brought him coffee, a fried egg, and a cup of soy tea. Every evening, she prepared a herbal food sock and massaged his leg with an electric massage gun. Xue limited in movement, recovering, but still observing, thinking, writing, and sharing. None of these things are extraordinary. All of it is oil and salt, boats and wretches, soil and seas. And yet, when I finished reading, something stirred in me that I couldn't quite name. Part 4. What was that feeling? I sat with it for a while. The word I landed on was real. Not performed harmony, not staged beauty for a photograph. The actual texture of life. A boat comes untied from the dock and drifts silently to the other side of the lake. The wind is too strong to pull it back. They wait until the next morning when the air is still. A camper van arrives at the resort. The driver sees the waterlogged lawn, looks around sadly, and drives away. A snowplow breaks down right in front of the main building. The previous owner thinks it's beyond saving and offers a small amount to buy it. He changes the oil, cleans the filters, replaces 8 spark plugs, and drives it away fixed. These small setbacks, these small frustrations, these small victories, they are not promotional material. They are just what life looks like. Part 5. What is the human experiment actually testing? The Millennium vision at the heart of Lifechanyuan is not a concept or a theory. At its core, it is a question. Can people live together in a fundamentally different way, not bound by economic interest, not held together by blood, not managed by power, but by shared values, a shared understanding of what life is for, and a care for one another that comes from somewhere genuine? This is a question humanity has been asking for thousands of years. Most utopian experiments have failed, not because the ideals were wrong, but because human nature eventually buckled under the weight. Over time, conflicts of interest appear, jealous surfaces, fatigue sets in, power struggles begin. So many people approach communities like this with deep, almost instinctive skepticism. However beauty the words, it won't last. But Canada's main home has been running for nearly 9 years. Not 3 years, not 5, nearly 9. At the vacation resort, 2 years old and growing, as a second thread to the same fabric. Part 6. What 9 years means. 9 years means it has survived enough to count. It has survived members leaving by national pressure, external misunderstanding, even hostility, rising costs of living in Canada, a global pandemic, geopolitical disruption cutting into bookings. Xue notes in the article that this year, between the war in Ukraine, instability in the Middle East, rising costs, and climate shifts, reservations are noticeably down from last year. Then he writes something I keep returning to. Our life will not be a problem because the second homes system continue to run. No anxiety, no complaint, just a quite settled certainty. That certainty does not come from wishful thinking. It comes from 9 years of accumulated trust. Trust in how this community operates. Trust in each other. Trust in life itself. Part 7. I want to talk about Xinrui. Xu Feng dedicated a full paragraph to Xinrui. I read it twice. What does Xinrui do every day? Cook, clean, change the bedding, tend the greenhouse, and care for Guide Xu whose mobility is limited. Every evening, an herbal food sock, a massage with an electric gun. None of these things are big, but it is precisely these things, none of which is big, that hold together a person's daily dignity, that make it possible for an ailing elder to rest peacefully by a lake, to keep observing life, to keep writing. In the world most of us live in, this kind of care is either private by family or paid for. But Xinrui and Xu Feng are not family. There is no employment contract between them. So, what moves Xinrui to do this? I think this is the part of the Millennium experiment that is hardest for outsiders to grasp. Care that does not depend on obligation or transaction. Care that simply comes from within. In the modern world, this is rare enough that some people see it and refuse to believe it's real. Part 8. The most beautiful passage. Near the end of the article, Xu Feng writes, May at the vacation resort is beautiful. Temperature range from 0 to 15 degrees. Each day, on him lake shimmers and ripples. Ducks and geese play freely on the water. And through the dense forest, the distant mountain tops gleam with snow. The grass has turned green. The trees are budding. The air is fresh. And the heart feels unusually light. Then he adds, even with just the 4 of them during the winter visits, even with the business, our spirits are energized and high. After dinner, we often play Lifechanyuan, laughing and playing. Life is full of joy. Lifechanyuan is a traditional Chinese card game. A few people, after dinner, gathered around a table, playing cards and laughing. Is there anything special about that image? On the surface, maybe not. But think again. These people, not bound by blood, not bound by contract, came together in the forests of northern Canada. They repair snowplows, they mow grass, they cook meals, they plant seeds, they care for the sick, they welcome guests, and then after dinner they play cards, and they find life full of joy. That is the result of the experiment. I cannot tell you whether Lifechanyuan's path is right for you, or whether the vision of the Millennium is something you can accept. That is something only you can decide. Through reading, learning, and thinking for yourself. But what I want to see is this. At a time when the whole world is talking about loneliness, exhaustion, and the loss of meaning, when more and more people are searching for a different way to live on the shore of a lake in northern Canada, 7 people are living quietly, fixing snowplows, growing peas, playing cards after dinner. Nearly 9 years for the main home, 2 years for the result, still going. Whatever you make of it, the fact that it exists and keeps going is worth pausing to think about. If you are curious about Lifechanyuan and the second home, we welcome you to visit our website to learn more. See you next time.